All right, Garage Door Heroes. Thank you so much, guys, for coming back to another episode of the Garage Door Hero podcast. And today is special. Today's huge to me. I've been looking forward to this day for quite a while, a couple months now, because we have a very special guest. And this is the second time Tommy has joined us. And so, I'm totally pumped. Thanks so much, Tommy. Now, normally I would roll into some really detailed introduction, and I know that I would do an inadequate job. I just want to say real quick, Tommy Mello. Tommy, this man inspires me, okay? I'm not going to lie. This man inspires me. The story that he tells of where he's come from and the challenges that he was facing on the early days of going, man, garage door industry or business is my new thing. And then the focus and the grind, everything that it took to get him to, in just, I think last year, a $200 million company. And I don't think anybody can be in the room very long with Tommy or listening to Tommy on the stage or in a podcast without being inspired. So without further ado, I want to just welcome you, Tommy. Thank you again for coming on.
Hey, I'm really excited. I was just telling you earlier, this is I really, really like to do this stuff. I like learning. I like relationships. I love talking about success and the grind. And my main goal is that we affect somebody's life in a positive way, because that's what I want to be known for. People always ask me, why do you share so much? Why do you invite your competitors in? Why do you help train your competitors? Even the technicians coming in next week from other companies that'll come out with a double ticket average and more customer satisfaction and asking for more reviews. And I'm like, the industry had to be elevated. There's no way I could charge the right pricing to actually change lives of my coworkers if the industry mentality didn't change. And it wasn't single-handedly. I will never take credit out, Tommy Mello. No, there's great people that got behind this movement. And without guys like Al Levy and Ara and Vahe with Service Titan and Tom Howard and Ellen Rohr, and I could go on and on about people that Ken Goodrich that invested into me, we wouldn't be here. So I'm not taking any credit. The only thing I did is put my head down and fought and fail forward. And I'm trying to be as humble as possible here. We've made a lot of mistakes. And I think I came from a divorced family. My father unfortunately cheated on my mother. I did not have a silver spoon. I've had a tough, most of the time I had dinner alone. My grandma would come over and cook for us.
Right.
And the point is, if I could do this, there's nobody that can't do it. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of people that want to do the relationships that have been torn apart. The people I've seen die, the trucks that have burned up on the side of the road or flipped, the living in the apartment and driving the oldest truck in the fleet. Most people don't want that, and they don't want my life, because I'm an overnight success of 2 decades. And it takes relationships, perseverance, breakups.
Yeah.
It's not a fun ride to go here. And, I watched an interview by the NVIDIA, the number one company, the CEO, the founder. He said, I never redo it again. And I don't think you give me no money to start over again. There's no chance in hell I'm doing it again. I'm 41. I mean, thank God I started in my early 20s, and I burned through sweat equity. I was losing my sweat equity. I didn't lose millions of dollars. So that was my education. So it's an honor to be on here with you.
Right on. Thank you. Thanks again. And thanks for sharing that. It takes a vision, right? It takes a long-term goal. What are we doing here today, and where do we want to be? And Tommy accomplished that. And I was going to say, people need hope. They need confidence to do it and take that next step, because it is a beating. I've been an entrepreneur for, I started selling hot dog roasters that I made in metal shop in middle school, door to door on my way home from school. I'd get the money to go back to the shop and buy more materials and make more hot dog roasters. So I've been in this mental game of being an entrepreneur and trying to make my own way a long time, just like you have. Like I say, though, Tommy's story, and I've heard it multiple times. It is incredible. So I'm hoping that everybody that's listening today and going forward, I'm hoping that everybody We'll take some mental notes, some physical notes, implement some things, and change our lives. Thanks again, Tommy.
Thank you, Rob. I want to say one more thing. One of the things I want to be zero association with is haters out there that don't respect what accomplishment looks like, that have every excuse. It's easy for him to say, easy for her to say, I wish I had that opportunity. You don't know my past. And these people have nothing better to do than go on social media and just try to put people down. I don't care who it is. I never have anything bad to say about somebody. If I don't like it, I don't tune in. But there's all these people, especially in this industry, that literally hate on success. And they've got all these reasons why. If you don't like wrap trucks, then don't get a wrap truck. You don't like anything I have to say, you don't have to. We're doing a podcast, and I've learned a lot by people that oppose my view that actually come with really, really good information and factual data that help me change my mind. But people that just leave comments and are haters, it's like, you know, one thing, Rob, I've never seen a hater do it better than me. And it's not being cocky. It's a little bit of discipline is what it takes. But you got to figure, for as many people like you, you're going to have those haters when you put yourself out there.
Sure.
And that's okay. I just never understood the people that felt like this. Do they feel better by leaving and putting people down? Because obviously there's some stuff going on in their brain that maybe they don't realize they're the issue. Maybe because they got to put other people down. And I'm getting used to it now. I'm like, dude, that guy, he's actually a fan. He doesn't even realize it yet. But the people that actually like, all they do is bitch. Oh, you should. Who is using cables like that? And that's the wrong spring. That's too long of a spring. Like, is it really? Does that make you feel good to go on and complain? Because I want to stay away from those people. If it's not easy, lucrative, and fun, the people that are constantly victimized and they don't agree and they got to voice it on Facebook. It's like, I've never seen an industry so disorganized and so disjointed. That's just so many haters when we could all win together. So I just wanted to make sure I said that, because it did used to bother me like really a lot. And now I'm just like, man, I wish that, Jesus or somebody would come into their lives, because they're a ticking time bomb of hate and anxiety and stress. And I would never want to go through life having to put people down to try to make myself feel better.
So true. There's no shortage of hate. There seems to be a shortage of love and gratitude. And we need that. We need to flip that script. We need to, in our industry, if we just came together and supported each other. And
whether you don't like what I'm doing, they don't like what you're doing. They might not like, Torsion Talk and my buddies over there and a lot of great people. And if they don't love the idea of a kick charge brand or anything that I've got behind or manuals by Al Levy, that's okay. And if you don't like it, you could say why you don't like it. But it's like, I want to see all of these guys win. I want to see them change their family's life. Yeah. I want to see them come up in a big way. I want to see the manufacturers win. I want to see people that could afford to buy a nice house and put their kids, give them the life they never had. Why would I need to bring, winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners?
That's profound. That's so true. We can easily come up with a win-win-win situation for all of us in this industry. And that, the winners could be us, the technicians, and the customer. It could be the manufacturers, the dealers, and the associations. I mean, there is plenty of space for everybody to come out ahead in this business. Well, cool. Well, I know you want to talk about vision and how your vision got you where you are. And I think that a lot of guys get caught up in the day-to-day, just kind of the muck and mud. What are some of your thoughts in vision and culture and building a positive environment in the office?
I really didn't understand it until 2018, or it might have been 2019, when I read the book by Gino Wickman and Mark Winters. It's called Rocket Fuel, and explains who a lot of the owners and founders are. Is we're visionaries. We're a lot like Walt Disney, and without a Roy Disney, the guy that knew every contractor when they were building Disneyland and Disney World, and they understood what was in the bank and how to get things done. It's very hard. I always say I've got the fastest leg in the world, my right leg, but all I'll do is spin in circles fast without the right people on the left leg. And sometimes it's more than one. They're integrators. And so the vision, most people's vision is so small and so expanded. It's like, yeah, this is what I want in 10 years. I want to do $1 billion. I'm like, what would you do with $1 billion? You know, because I see a lot of billionaires commit suicide that get drug habits and drink alcohol all day. A lot of people think about what they're going to spend the money on instead of how is this going to change lives? How is it going to be an investment into my future and everybody around me's future? So the vision needs to be this big enough vision for everybody to fit inside. And my vision is very intense, very massive. It's a big, hairy, audacious goal. And it doesn't just include money. It includes freedom for a lot of people. But the difference is the vision is not negotiable. How we get there is negotiable. So I just think a lot of people, they dream big, but they don't know how to reverse engineer it. And I've said this a lot. You've probably heard me say there's some simple KPIs that most people, they think they know it because they're on House Call Pro or Jobber or Service Titan, but they really don't have the right booking rate. They don't really know. They don't have attribution. They don't really know each and every technician's that you could log into my app that we built and see who's number one in the company at conversions. And people are like, oh, yeah, that's all he talks about. Well, any company, including the church, talks about how many new people are we getting in and are they tithing? Because that's how you make the church work. And that's how you affect and send people on missions. This isn't this crazy thing. This is called business. Most people entered in as a worker. I never had the mindset of the numbers will set you free and understand average ticket, because that's how we pay. That's how we pay people payroll every week. It's because we've got to collect money from the clients. And that's how we do marketing. And that's how we buy new trucks and get the best technology. And actually people are able to buy houses and get themselves out of the projects and put their kids in a good school and go on their dream vacations and spend time with their mother and father and change their life as well, because they feel like paying it forward to the people that help them come up. So we're going to talk about numbers. And I enjoy math because there's a mathematical certainty that if I book this much percentage, make the phone ring this many times, book this many calls, this many conversions at this average ticket, the revenue and profits built in. And, you know, we're going to talk. I think most people should have a budget, and I think you should be doing the math. Now, there's a lot of other things, culture. There's handbooks, there's guidelines, there's marketing, there's investing into the company. And the number one thing I see, Rob, is people divest. They say they start doing Airbnbs and they're like, I'm going to flip houses and hey, somebody taught me that I could do this, so I'm going to make this kind of money. And they say, dude, I'm always hustling. I'm a hustler. But yet if they got the math right and they actually had a real P&L, they're not really they're divesting from the one asset that pays them the biggest return, and they don't double down. If they had 5 years of delayed gratification and doubled down a few times, they'd be so much better off. But they say, the husband and wife get together and they say, we deserve this second house. We deserve this Harley. We deserve this boat. And then they never use it. And it's an appreciating asset. If they just put the money, the best ROI is focusing on the one thing and reinvesting and watching it compound. And, you know, if people, you're changing, I never worry about our great people leaving. Somebody could offer them the world. They're not leaving, because I actually say what I'm going to do. I walk the walk. And I've had guys say, someone's going to give me 30% commission. You want to match that? I'm like, no. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't care what somebody says they're going to give you. They're going to give you equity in their business. I had a guy leave, got 10% equity. He was back in 6 months because the guy took it back. You know, a lot of people want to say, oh, I'll outpay you. I'll give you equity. I'll do this. It's empty promises. No, 25 millionaires came out of our first deal. We'll have 50 or more on the next deal. And then we'll have hundreds come out of the next deal. Plus, a lot of the technicians are going to get $300,000 to $500,000. I'll have at least 100 technicians, installers that get that kind of money. And that's enough to help set them up with a really good retirement. And I know the vision is so important that you dream big and you know exactly how you're going to get there.
That is awesome. Clarity in the vision right there. That is key. I love it. I love it. So let's talk for just a minute. We kind of touched on it, but let's expand. The vision has to include, I mean, sometimes we talk about a sphere, right? And the book right?
Yeah.
Build a business where everybody wins, right? So, I mean, let's talk about that, because in my position, I see a lot of guys that are starting small, struggling to kind of figure out how to build and expand in a situation where everybody wins. And
well, they're not even winning. What do you mean? The problem is they look in the mirror. They don't take care of themselves. They're not there with their family. They're not good for their employees. They don't feel like investing in training. They wonder what the hell's wrong with you. Why didn't you show up on time? But yet they're never to a meeting on time. They never take any personal accountability because they're still thinking like an employee, not a leader. So they say, I'm really good at fixing garage doors. I know how to write good tickets, whatever it might be. I'm going to go ahead and become the leader and start a business. I know nothing about finance. I know nothing about balance sheets, income statements, or leadership and leading from up front. I know nothing about payroll. I know nothing about recruiting and hiring. People think a business is easy, but we know that 9 out of 10 businesses will fail within the first 5 years, and 99% will never make it to $1 million. So you work 24/7, give up relationships for a job that pays you $150,000. And by the way, if you own the business, you got to pay yourself a W-2. You got to pay FICA, Medicare, and payroll taxes. A lot of these people don't even know how to take draws or to pay themselves and not take draws. It's like, you think that that's kosher with GAAP accounting, general accepting accounting principles, general accepted accounting principles, is if you're the CEO and you're working in the company, you got to pay yourself through the system. And if you're at $1 million, you should be paying yourself at least $100,000. And I look at businesses every day, and some of these businesses are all ad backs. They're not really making a profit.
Yeah.
And they think their business, well, you don't understand. I got 20,000 customers. Okay, you got some goodwill. I'll buy your phone number for you. I'll give you 10 grand. They've never built a business, but they worked so hard. But they said, we don't charge those prices. You know why they don't charge the prices? Is because they want to pay people $18 an hour.
Yep.
And they want to make sure to hold people down. If they did, they give their customers really good deals so they could hold their people down. They just don't see it like that. They're like, oh, we would never sell for that price, but you make sure your people can't make more than 50 grand a year. You don't have insurance. You don't have PTO. I insist on everybody taking 3 weeks off a year, minimum. And I pay for them for that. I want the best insurance for their families. I want the best dental. I want brand new trucks because that's what I would want if I worked for me. And other people are like, yeah, well, it's easy for you, but you don't want to charge your customers because you don't feel valued enough. You don't think you're valued. Now, listen, I think there's some predatory practices out there. Selling a 10,000 cycle spring a pair for $1,000 is not fair. That's why I say if you're not giving options, you're giving ultimatums. But you know what? I guarantee you my guys make mistakes. I guarantee you yours do too. But people compare us to Precision and whatever, garage door, GDS or whatever. I'm like, dude, my picture's on the side of the truck. Everybody's a W-2. We've got all the benefits. Not every person comes out perfect. They make mistakes. But we train the hell out of them, and we continue to train, and we have meetings every single day. We just got through an hour-and-a-half meeting this morning with every single technician in the company and every single CSR and dispatcher once a month. And every single you're in business to make profit, and you're in business. If the company's not making a healthy profit, you're not doing your customers a favor. And there's a different way of looking through this lens. Instead of thinking you're selfish, you're going to change your community. Tomorrow, we're volunteering. We do this every month. We either plant trees, paint the YMCA, Wounded Warrior. We're getting involved with a lot of nonprofit. We're going to go feed the hungry children tomorrow and pack lunches. I'm going to that. Like, when you make money, you could give to things you care about. And you could help people, co-sign for a house and put down a down payment and actually change and go on their dream vacations. And this idea of, they charge too much. I don't know what you should charge for your company. It's different than what I should charge. The infrastructure is different. But being a business owner comes with a lot of responsibility. You need to show up. If you want just a passive business, this isn't the industry for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so true. The people I choose to work with are growth-minded, growth-oriented people that want to change and bless lives, and that includes the lives of the people that work for them. Well,
I don't know. Let me ask you this: we've bought a lot of companies. Everybody said all I care about is my employees. How much did they give them? I gave away damn near $100 million. When the truth comes out, I want somebody really good for my people. But yet you just got a lump sum of money. Nobody was included that helped you build your dream. And I think that you'll see people's true colors when it all comes out, because everybody says they talk the talk, but do they actually really care? Or, hey, this is for my family. I worked hard. I took all the risk, so you're not included. I know, listen, I see people's true intentions all the time, and very, 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 very rarely do they actually come through with what they say they're going to do. And they become selfish. And you know what? I could never look myself in the eyes, in the mirror. I wouldn't be comfortable like taking advantage of the people that help me come up, the people that actually come in on the weekend and they take the calls at night, and they took sacrifice, and they're entrepreneurs. They work with me and we run in the same direction. I don't want to be the boss. I want them to say we work together, man. And a lot of people are like, all I care about is let me see. Show me your schedule. Show me how much time you're spending. Let me see what you're doing with your people outside of work. Let me see if you're feeding them and breaking bread with them like you do at Thanksgiving with your family. Because if they are your family, you want them to win. You want to make sure they're living their best life. It's easy to say, oh, yeah, the culture is everything. Bullshit.
We do see where leadership can fail. I've seen that a lot. And I meet with guys a lot. And I think a lot of times they just don't know what they don't know. Then I end up encouraging a lot of people to follow you and get the books and check out the training center that you guys have.
People might think I'm cocky, Rob. I've made more mistakes. I've learned the hard way. I've bled. I got, hypothetically, bruises and scars all over. I believe in my mission. And I'm not trying to belittle anybody. I try to tell the truth because my best friends tell me what I need to hear when I need to hear it. I don't need to sugarcoat this. I'm not here to make everybody feel better. My goal is to help them change and realize there's a problem. I've never been through a 12-step process, but I think the first step is admitting there's an issue and at least saying that we've got a problem. And until that day happens, nothing improves. And if people say I'm cocky, listen, I don't think I'm better than anybody. I am super humble. You're more than welcome to come to my shop. You're more than welcome to see my people and see how our Service Titans account is set up. I don't charge for shop tours. I don't try to take more than I give. But listen, if you think it's all roses and daisies and you're in business, you could have a bad month and not make payroll, because I've been there. I've had to write personal checks over and over again. I had my mom working for me. I had to fire my best friend. I've been through the ringer. And I want to tell people that this is not easy.
Yeah. I hope everybody, if some of you might need to hit pause and rewind on that and listen to that last few minutes, because it isn't easy. It isn't easy. And I've talked to a lot of people that think it is, and they started this because they thought it was, and it's not. I want to come back to something that you'd mentioned a minute ago, and that is, in order to be a good leader and be able to lead our people and inspire them, there's the element of accountability, and so many times the leaders feel like that accountability needs to be holding their team accountable, and yes, everybody needs to be accountable, but I think there's some self accountability that needs to be in check there.
Well, they'll follow the leader, right? I mean, everybody follows. If your desk is just a crazy mess, if you're late to meetings, if you're not focused and always on your cell phone, you're saying it's okay. If you're a fat slob that doesn't take care of yourself, a lot of times we become the parents to some of the people. They look up to us because they never had a mom and dad that cared about them. So if dad says it's okay, and I know that's a little strange for people to hear, but I've had mentors I looked up to like a parent. And there is a lot of accountability that goes with it. Lead from up front. Simon Sinek talks about it all the time. Leaders eat last. I think the fact is that my job is to remove reasons why you're failing. Like if you came up to me and said, these are the two reasons, all I would say is, Rob, I'm going to write down here that I'm going to take care of this and I'm going to stay accountable to you. And this is what that looks like. Now you're going to sign off saying that after these two obstacles of your success are removed, that there is no more excuses. There's no more victimhood. We are going to sign off together. I'm making a contract for myself and just an agreement that says we're removing the reasons why you're not successful, because I agree with you. That's not That's not good. And this is not okay with me. But I am going to hold myself accountable, and I'd like you to do the same. And I do this all the time. And I think it's fair because there are reasons I'm not getting great calls. Okay, let's look into that, and I'll make sure that we get you the best calls ever. You're telling me that it's going to go great, and you're going to leave them with a 5-star experience and a big smile and a raving fan, and you're going to give them options to choose what they so desire, not your options, their own options. And you're going to offer everything. I don't care if they look like they're broke, because we're not going to be prejudiced because the person looks like they're rich to not offer them financing, or because they're broke, not offer them new cables or a bottom rubber. We're going to do everything the same to every client and give them the options to choose what they feel is the right decision. And so many people are like, oh yeah, they would have never bought that. You'd be surprised how many jobs I've been to. I used to run 7 to 10 calls a day for years on weekends, moving. I used to bring my work truck to the theater and leave in the middle. I can't tell you how many theaters I had to walk out of to go run the call, and getting up at midnight to go do it. And it took a lot of discipline, a lot of sacrifice. And that's what it takes to be successful. And when you find the people that have that same mentality, that come and they say, I want to join forces with you. I want to be next to you. I want to be your coworker in this. And that's what I consider them, as coworkers. We could win together, but I'm not going to be 70% of this relationship and you 30. I think we should be, I'll be 60-40. I'd rather be 50-50. But if you don't want it for yourself, and I got guys that are comfortable making 75 grand a year, and I got other guys that aren't comfortable making 250. And my job is to teach them a little bit of personal finance, of how to save that money. Because if you can't save money at 40,000, you'll never save money at 200. And so we're teaching people how to own homes. We're teaching people how to live their dream and let their money work for them. And I got to do a better job. I'm the best I've ever been, but the worst I'll ever be, because tomorrow I'm going to be a little bit better. And I'm committed to that.
That is awesome. Now, business owners out there, entrepreneurs out there, garage door service and repair company owners, I hope you're listening. I hope that when we try and sit down and envision what our future might look like, what our company might look like, I mean, think about some of these things. I don't know if your goal is to become a Tommy Mello or not. I hope that your goal is to become very successful and to hit your dream. But think about some of these things that Tommy talked about, that wasn't just take care of your tools. It wasn't just, how to get more out of each one of your customers. Tommy's talking about how you treat your employees and helping them with personal finance and how to get into a home and blessing their lives. Right? Did I get a good understanding of that?
Well, look, this is Zig Ziglar's quote right here. It says, you could have everything in life you want if you just help other people get what they want.
Wow.
And it's the truth. It's what I live by. It says around the same things in the Bible. And whatever you believe in, I hope you believe in a higher power. I mean, I believe in Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, but I hope people have something to believe in, and they understand what faith is. You know what I've been really good at? This is like my superpower, Rob, is getting access to people. Like, I call Clopay and Amar and I say, who's the number one company selling the best product mix? Can you call them up and mind? I'll share everything I have with them. I like to know how they're doing it, because I know that makes you guys more money. It makes the technicians more money. It makes happier clients, better R value, better U factor. Actually, whatever I could do, they know all the answers to that. I'll call Service Titan and say, who's Master Dispatch Pro the best? And they'll send me out. I just got back from Memphis, Tennessee. I'm asking them, who is the number one call center for booking rates that does it the best inbound and outbound? And usually people take my call because I ask. Everyone's trying to reinvent the wheel and try to find the lightning in a bottle, as Levy calls it. You know what I say? Just show me somebody that's done it. Let me ask. Let me be humble. Let me make sure I'm going in, giving them everything they would want. I don't say, hey, Rob, what can I do for you? What do you need? You're going to be like, dude, I need a lot of stuff. Just find something that you think that could really benefit somebody because you've done the work. It's so easy to say, what do you need? Like, I want to come in and give. And I think you'd feel indebted. The law of reciprocity says you'll go above and beyond to help me. You've obviously figured something out. My goal is not to take you down. Believe it or not, we could coexist. Everybody that I've been to in their market that's part of Garage Door Freedom, they're like, we were so worried. We thought you were the biggest dick. And then you came into our market, and we've never made more money ever. We've raised our prices. We've branded correctly. We've actually been able to hire better. And because you're doing good doesn't mean I'm doing bad. That's the crazy thing about business. There doesn't need to be winners and losers. Like
Right.
bars strategically try to be by another busy bar because they both make a lot of money. And it's like they don't have to compete. Like we could all, there's more than enough water in the ocean for everybody. And I think people are like, they look at it as competition and this competitive when we collaborate. And if you guys read the book, HVAC Spells Wealth, Ron Smith, he recently passed away. He figured this out in the late 60s and 70s that if they collaborated in Southern Florida with other HVAC companies, they could all win together. And then there was a guy, George Brazil and Frank Blau, that did this at Nexstar in Minnesota. That's where Nexstar is headquartered. And they started to become friends and share things and winning together. And this industry just was never ready for that. It was so selfish. It was like, no, I'm going to keep everything to myself and live in my own little dome. And I'm going to be hateful towards everybody else. That's no one wins. That's never good. You know, we're all out here to make a better living for our families and the people that work for us, hopefully, and set dreams true. Why not share more? Because the industry would elevate faster if we just changed the mentality so much quicker.
Heck yeah. And I think I completely agree with you. And I think if we could all get on the same page with a positive abundance mindset, helping each other out, elevating the industry. I will just say in the last week, I've had a really cool experience with a couple of clients. And I won't, without saying where, the city is one of the highest population density cities and counties in the United States and therefore the world. And I've got a client that's already there. And then an acquaintance of his called me and said, I'd like you to do some marketing for me. And they share their service areas overlap. And I told both of them, hey, look, we've got some competition here. I just want to make sure everybody's okay. And I was so relieved. It was such a great experience that both of them said, hey, and I'm going to quote Nick here, but I think somebody else, but the high tide rises all ships. Right. And there's plenty of doors. There's plenty of plumbing opportunities for everybody if we want to work together and work for the benefit of our friends, our competition, our families, the people that work for us. I think we're going to be able to sleep better and have lower blood pressure and enjoy life and enjoy business better.
100%. And the deal is, I had to get out of the garage door scene to learn because no one wanted to help. Everybody was looking over their shoulder, figuring out how to screw the other guy. And HVAC had already figured it out. $180 billion market cap, HVAC, plumbing, electrical. You know what these guys did? They said, Tommy, you're the garage door guy. You're in your 20s at the time. Come on in. We're going to share everything. You're not even a competitor. And they shared with their competitors as well. But they opened up with welcoming arms. And they saw that I was a student. They saw that I took notes and I asked great questions and I implemented. And these guys have been through the ringer. They've made their money. They said, we want to see you win. We're going to pay it forward like our mentors did for us. And I had to get the hell away from this industry to become what we've done. And I followed HVAC, plumbing, electrical to the T. And I actually implemented service agreements and finance options and newer trucks. And I was allowed to be on billboards because every single one I saw was HVAC or plumbing. Why couldn't we be an industry that could afford that stuff? And I don't know if it's self-worth. They just don't feel like they deserve it. They say we got to give our customers a really, really good deal. Just enough to make sure we stay in business, never make real money to get ahead, never let anybody win on our team. You know, but we've got some bad companies in the past that have done things that really just blew up their own pocketbook, never shared with anybody, and did really, really bad things to clients. And then you get painted into that box, and that's okay, and I understand that. But the people that work for this company that literally, like, I would do anything for, they defend us, and you could see it on social media that, like, they're like, wait a minute, we've got nice things. Our families, the lives have changed. And you got these haters out there. It's like, well, you must be really happy. You must be making six figures and have all the benefits. You must be really doing well. You must be driving a beautiful new truck, which becomes your office. Because if you're going to put somebody down you must either have a lot of issues with yourself, or you must have the greatest thing ever going on, and you should share some of that. But there's more hate out there, and I understand why. I've really been thinking a lot about what went wrong in someone's upbringing in their life to make them hate people so much, to hate success around them. And it's an enigma to me, but I love looking at it like, wow, somebody feels good going online and putting somebody's work down. Now, if somebody's not a good craftsman at their job, instead of putting them down, say, why don't you fly in and come meet me and I'll help you do this a better way? Because wouldn't that be better? Wouldn't that make our industry holistically look like great? Wouldn't that be an amazing thing than to say, what, look at your training? Maybe I didn't have a trainer. I didn't have anybody. I didn't know how to do a spring pad. I went and bought redheads and figured it out going into concrete. And I didn't know how to do a gear and sprocket. So I went to Wayne Dalton and they taught me how to do a Torque Master and a Torque Master Plus. I didn't know how to do these things. I had to learn it. I didn't have the money to invest a lot in a mentor at the time. I drove a used truck that was breaking down. I didn't have new shoes on. I was garbage picking, trying to find good cables out of Cookson. If there was a gear and sprocket, I'd take it apart and rebuild it. I had a vise on the back of my truck. People were giving their houses back to the bank saying, I need to move out with my 2 daughters. They're 3 and 5. I'd look at the kids and I say, let me just get this working so you can get your stuff out. Like, I don't know why it needs to be this way. And it's really frustrating. And I just stay away from those people. Like, literally, I've got a list of people that I just watch their comments and say, I want nothing to do with these people.
Yeah.
They're literally a virus. They're a plague, and they bring people down, and they got nothing to offer except for people to put other people down. And man, it would be horrible to go through life just saying all I did was antagonize and shit on people around me, because they have no friends. They never read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and to be a positive influence and try to help people come up.
Man, if people would just take a minute and look at their lives, if they ever had 5 or 10 or 15 minutes or even years of their life that they were truly happy, I think they would find that they were expressing gratitude and caring and compassion and empathy rather than tearing people down and hate. That's too bad, because you're right. Life should be happy. It should be fun, and I think it's possible for everybody. You mentioned, and Tom Howard talked about this a bit on when he was on this podcast, and I actually think he was talking about you. You took a lot of cues and a lot of key ingredients to improving and growing and scaling your business from the other industries in the home services. Like you just mentioned, visiting the HVAC industry leaders. Now I want to bring this around because in September 25th through the 27th, we have what is sure to be the biggest and best and greatest conference in the home services industry coming up. Right? The Freedom 2024.
Yeah, yep. It's freedomevent.com. And, I've really studied what a great event looks like. And by the way, I don't think anybody really understands how well A1's doing and how much, I don't need to have an event to try to sell people stuff. I really don't need to do a newsletter. I don't need to do the podcast. Everybody's like, why is he on Facebook? I have a great team on my personal brand and a team that runs these events, and they deserve to make great money. And if I could break even on these events in the newsletter, I'm very happy, but I need to pay my people really, really well. They work very, very, very hard. And why would I extract money from A1 when I could literally come up with products that actually do a lot? Like, we put time, energy, effort, money, a lot of bandwidth into these things. And my goal is that I don't need to extract from one thing. I could break even on this stuff because it creates relationships and opportunities. And, there's Jocko going to be there.
Yeah.
And you talk about discipline and perseverance and pushing past your limits, the limiting beliefs. You've got Ellen Rohr, who's a financial genius that makes Where Did the Money Go? She wrote the book, and it's a great book. Or How Much Should I Charge? It's a very simple book. Bare Bones Business. You can get those books on Amazon. I've got a guy named Darius Livers. Absolutely phenomenal. This dude is the ninja of home service, and he cares. you, I've got Sebastian talking about artificial intelligence and where they're going with it. And he runs Rilla. I've got Chirp, Ryan Finn. The guy is an ace in the hole. I've got Tom Howard going to be there. I've got Ken Goodrich going to be there. Paul Kelly does $300 million in Phoenix alone.
Man,
he's the GOAT, like literally super profitable. He's going to be there. These guys are all the GOATs. I try to do a lineup to not just make it mindset, but to make it tactical and systems as well, where you get everything. And if you get one relationship and one shop visit that you could line up and one great friend that you could bounce ideas off of, it pays for itself in dividends. This isn't this cash grab. You think Jocko was just like, here's $20, or you think that was an investment into this event? And we make investments, deep, deep, deep investments. Like, I want to put on the best show that has the best ROI ever. I want to change lives. I want people to say, man, knowing that Tommy guy, once I met him and I knew he wasn't cocky and I knew he actually looked me in the eyes and he meant the truth, that he wanted to deliver value. He wants to be known. When my funeral rolls around, I want people to say, shaking his hand, looking into his eyes, he kept his word. He didn't come with this pay me, pay me, pay me. I'm not a good sales guy that's just like extracting $20,000 a month. I got to pay for people to be committed to your success if you engage in any of those opportunities. But it's not like I do really, really great. A1's on a tear. We're going places, and there's a lot of people coming with us. I mean, I had Robert Kiyosaki call me yesterday. I had Robert Cialdini doing a podcast. He's 79 years old, wrote the book Influence and Persuasion. He's a ninja. He's a badass. He's a mentor of mine.
That's
and
awesome.
These guys, I've got access, and I'm sharing the access. I'm sharing it all. But people are like, I'm too busy. I've got too much work to do. I can't get away. You don't understand my family. You can't afford not to come. Like, that's the deal. You listen to guys like Cody Johnson that went from 500,000 to 3.5 million of EBITDA in less than 2 years. You listen, and it goes on and on and on and on. Understanding performance pay. One guy was doing 20 grand a month, went to 300 grand a month of profit just by implementing a few things. And I don't know, every single company has a different prescription. It's not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
But I guarantee if I ask you a few questions, we'll know exactly what you need. And I just want you to wake up. I don't want you to go through life 20 years later saying, man, that flew by and I should have seized the day and the opportunity. Because you don't have to have all the answers, because I sure as hell don't. But I've got a lot of great people and access to people that I call regularly. I mean, you look at Al Levy, you look at Dan Martell, you look at Jody Underhill. These are some of the few mentors. Dan Antonelli, what he's done for me. Guys like Ryan Finn and Sebastian, just with the technology. Ara Vahe that invested in me to enter into the garage door space with Service Titan. And Adam and our business. Like, I never want to pretend that I'm useless without a team. I will tell you that. Like, the teamwork makes the dream work.
Man, that should be the mic drop, but we could end it there. We're useless without a team. I hope that everyone in earshot of us today, if they take anything away, take that. Because we need a good team. If we're gonna be the Tommy Mellos in our own world, at some point, it takes a team.
And Rob, I want to talk about something here. Everybody should really take notes right now. This is about personal goals. I was very busy, man. I fly around the country. I do podcasts. I do stages. I do stuff with my family. I've got a lot of construction going on. I'm building a new gym at A1. It goes on and on. I've made a lot of investments. I've got meetings from morning to night. But I was always made excuses like, dude, I'm too busy. Like, I never looked in the mirror. I was just like, yeah, you're a little chunky. You're not your best self. But what do you expect, dude? You're busy as hell. And then I realized there's 168 hours in a week. If you spend 40, or let's just say you spend 50 working. Some of us work way more than that. You spend 50 sleeping, which is over 7 hours of sleep a night. Very essential. Most important thing, by the way. You spend 10 hours working out, which is crazy. 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. You still got 58 hours left. And if you put 15, a quarter of that, you could put more into family. You could do a lot of things with that time. It's not scrolling through social media and watching TV and making sure you watch that Netflix special. But you put a quarter of that time into self-improvement and education and deep diving into yourself. You won't imagine where you could go, and you change your circle. I went and got, this is important. This is called DEXA scan, and I don't know DEXA. This is just a test you go take. It costs about $70 here. If you're ever in Phoenix, I'll get you hooked up with the guy. It's $70, and it tells you your body fat, your total mass, your fat tissue, your lean tissue, your visceral fat, and your BMC. And when I got mine, the first time I was at 26% body fat. And I set a goal by Freedom to be under 10%. As of yesterday morning, I'm at 14.8. And I got this Aura ring, and I started using my MyFitnessPal to just watch what I'm eating, making sure I'm sleeping right with the Aura ring. I just started paying attention a little bit more. I started working out a little bit harder. I go on these, like a walk this morning for an hour and 20 minutes and a walk at night for an hour. It's a fast-paced walk. Number one, I felt a lot more secure with myself. Like, I want to be able to go, and this might be vain, but I want to be able to go to a pool party and not be embarrassed to take my shirt off. Like I'm better than that. I kind of feel like a loser. Like I'm not the best version of myself. So my confidence is up, and I'm leading from up front. And everyone, we've lost in the last 3 months over 1,000 pounds here at A1 cumulative.
Whoa.
But this is the other side of it that no one talks about. I'm not on any blood pressure medicine, never been. My mental clarity's never been better. I feel like I could fight a bull, like take him down by the horns. I wake up at 4:30 to 5 a.m. without an alarm. I go to bed and I go straight to bed. I'm closer to my relationships. I'm more focused. I've got this aura, this mood that I feel like everybody should have. Some people come home from work and they don't even have enough time to spend quality time with their family because they're working so hard. But when you get this new self that you actually think you're worth it, and you put into yourself the right things. And a lot of people don't want to hear this. They're like, dude, you have no idea. I don't even have time to eat. I can prove to you do. I can prove to you that you don't have time on your schedule because you're still doing minimum wage tasks most of the day. And you haven't hired for your weaknesses, and you don't have good control over your time management. And you've not done the necessary things to focus on the right stuff. But if you start pouring into yourself, self-worth is important. All of a sudden your significant other will start to see the change, and they'll start taking care of themselves, and you'll change. Some people should be locked up for what they feed their kids. Like it starts these cognitive connections you make as a younger person. Like if it's always fast food, well, we don't have time to go. Well, listen, dude, I know how long it takes to make eggs. I know how long it takes to make a healthy salad. I know how long it takes to go to bed at the right time. I used to be a night owl. And then I realized there's nothing that I'm like, man, I'm glad I stayed up till 1, because if I didn't, I would have never got that done. Like I could go to bed by 10, be asleep by 10:25. And so I think it's really important that we start looking at our health, and we start this feeling I have is like, dude, I could run a marathon. I'm not going to run a marathon, but like I have so much energy, and literally like I'm so content, and I could actually reflect now and look at the day. And I could show you a snapshot of my calendar, but it's very, very, very concise. Place I need to be at the right time. I'm prepped. And if you don't take anything else from this podcast, is you deserve it. Your future self deserves it. Your health, your family deserve it. And when you get this test, it kind of hits you like reality. Bree started doing it. They said she was obese. They said her body fat was way too high, her visceral fat, which gives you heart attacks and strokes. She started crying to me. She hired a personal trainer that day. She got rid of all the bad food, and we're doing it together.
Right.
And it's not like I'm like this crazy fanatic. You could walk a little bit faster. You could park further away from when you go to Costco. You could get some steps in. I got the little treadmill under the desk. I got about everybody on this hallway under their desk. Luke walked 2 miles while he was getting work done. And I see the way they start having self-respect for themselves and the way they treat other people. And they're the people that are watching them, like your kids and your family, and it changes everything.
Right on. Self-respect and respecting those around you. And this is just a mind shift that you're even unconscious of. How long do you think it takes to see a difference like you're talking about? If somebody starts focusing on that.
Andy Frisella came up with this program called 75 Hard. And the premise is you drink a gallon of water a day. You do 2 workouts a day, 1 outside. You do, you read 10 pages of a book. You don't drink alcohol for the 75 days. It's just there's like 5 or 6 things. I would add on to that a certain macro schedule, just a certain amount of protein. And you got to try to eat healthy. 75 days. That actually will get you, you'll start to see the results. People will notice you. I mean, I had 8 chins. I'm not where I want to be yet. Like I said, I'm a work in progress and I'm okay with that. But when you start seeing the results and people saying, man, you got me motivated. When people look at me, Rob, I want them to say, I want what you have. You've got Jesus Christ. I don't want to try to convince people to believe in what I believe. I want them to say, I just want what you have. I want to know what you do. I want to know how long you walk. What can I go on a walk with you? Sure. Well, like, I don't want to tell people. I want them to say, man, that guy's really, like, behind closed doors. I look at a lot of influencers and these people with successful businesses. They're miserable. They're on so many drugs and they're suicidal. And it's not the money. You know, you take all the money away. It's who I had to become to get to this level. And you could never take that away from me. You're not going to take away all my relationships and who I had to become. So I'd rather be a person that walks the walk that people are like, man, that guy's real. Like, he's happy. Like, he giggles a lot and he's joking and he's having fun. I really feel like it's my job to tell people about this feeling, this no stress, no anxiety. When problems come, we solve them. We don't stay up late at night worrying about the problems. We be present where our feet are. And the quality time with family, everybody says family is the most important thing. Show me your credit card bills and your calendar. I'll show you what's important to you.
Ooh. Yeah.
And it's the hard truth, which I'm willing to do. If you decide that this is a message that doesn't apply to you, then I don't care. It's okay. Just don't do anything with it. And I hope it breaks it changes people's perspective a little bit. But if you want to come visit, you go to Tommy Mello, now.com/shop. Come to a shop tour. I'll show you the training center. I'll give you everything I've got. I'll feed you. I'll give you some books. I'll answer your questions. You can meet the team that made this company so successful. It's an honor for me to celebrate them. And it's free of cost. You just got to take a little bit of time because you're worth it. And anything else anybody needs, I can't get to every question every day because I do have a family to look out for out there.
Yeah.
But I'm really trying to I give without I don't need anything back from you. I just, if you could help change the industry and change the way blue collar work is looked at and change your community and be closer to your family and teach them the right things that they deserve, then I consider that a huge win.
Fabulous. That is a huge win. Thank you so much, Tommy. I have actually taken a shop tour down there. I've been over there. I've been over to the training center, and I want to agree or just support everything that Tommy just said. No matter what industry you're in, you will be able to learn, especially if you're in home services, you'll be able to learn and take something away from that chat, a tour of the shop, the offices, you'll meet the people. And I did. I don't mind saying I have been to vertical tracks. I have been to freedom events, and they're life-changing. They're game changers. And I want to just recommend anyone that can get there. And if you can't get to where the locations where the freedom events and the vertical tracks are, man, make a trip to Phoenix and go see the A1 facility.
San Diego, September 25th. I don't think it gets much better. I'm a little weird about California with some of the stuff going on, but there's not a more beautiful state. There's no better place to be September 25th through the 27th. We will not disappoint. This isn't a big sales pitch from stage. If you don't walk away, this is not a big drunk fest either. Like, this isn't a party. It's not like the IDA in Vegas where everybody gets shit-faced and no one shows up the next day. This is something where you come prepared and you want to learn. You take notes and you build bonds that last forever. And, message me if it's something that you just can't afford. Like, look, I just want people to be there, man. I really do. I've got I'm only speaking for 1 hour the whole 3 days. I've outbooked it for people I needed to see. I'm going to get a lot out of this. I mean, we are preparing and preparing and preparing and preparing and preparing and prepping and making sure that we put on something that's magical, that really, really influences positive change. Because I know that if you've got 10 employees which are coworkers, and we could change so many people's lives with this. And I take the responsibility super seriously. So it's freedomevent.com. Rob, I appreciate you promoting it. And, you get nothing out of this. You're doing me a huge favor. And I just hope the people that you know the most show up, because literally my friends are open books. They are really, really there, giving without anything in the budget meetings. I can tell you Paul Weiss is a good buddy of mine.
Right on.
He's like, dude, my life has changed dramatically. And there's a lot of people, I didn't do the work because I didn't even come up with the solutions. I ripped off and duplicated everything I know, and I just implemented it.
The new R&D. I love it. Hey, Jessica asked us if you could just give the web address for the shop tours again.
Yeah, let me type them in here real quick. What do I got to do here to comments?
Should be over on the right-hand side down there. It might not work in the StreamYard. Just
put in Tommy Mello, no W.com /shop, SHOP. Tommy Mello, TOMMYMELLO.com /shop. The newsletter, I give several free issues out, is TommyMello.com /news. No advertising in it. And the Freedom Event is freedomevent.com. Love to have you guys in any one of these things. And if you don't like the event, let me know why you're there and say this is a bunch of horse shit. I'll give you your money back. I don't care.
No, we will be there. We will be there. And I'm hoping that all of my people in my groups and in my world will be there. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend Tommy. And I know you've got to go. I know you're super busy, man. Thanks
this
again.
Has been great, man. I love an opportunity. I know it sounds like a bitch fest to me, but I literally just, if you look through a different lens and your people come up, the loyalty and just, it's something very special. And we're building something and we're building it together. And the people that are part of this are going to remember these times. And just, I told you in the beginning, I wanted to read this poem or this quote.
Yeah.
And this is the way I really kind of live. It's right out here. It's at my house. The master in the art of living makes little distinction between his work and his play, his labor and his leisure, his mind and his body, his information and his recreation, his love and his religion. He hardly knows which is which. He simply pursues his vision of excellence at whatever he does, leaving others to decide whether he is working or playing, because to him, he is always doing both. And I got goosebumps, and it's real. And if you believe that, man, things start to get fun. And I believe everybody should walk in on Monday and not hate their lives and have something to look at and not have these firefights all the time. And say, man, we're building something so cool. We're going where no one's been before, and we're very proud of our team and our families, and Jesus. If you believe in Jesus, and I'm not trying to change anybody's religion by any means, but these things are important, and if you take them seriously, if I could, you could too. I promise you guys that.
Right on, right on. I feel like an applause is necessary right now, but thank you for that. Guys, there are so many things that have been covered today that are just life changers and game changers, and obviously not all balance sheet types of items, right? But if we change our mindset, change our focus in our life, our business is going to change as well. Tommy, thanks again. I can't thank you enough, actually, for coming on here. We will be, our team, the Legit 5 team, will be at the Freedom Event in San Diego. But I want to encourage anyone to just take advantage of learning how to grow and develop your business wherever you can. Tommy's got Freedom Events all over the country. I feel like they're about every other month. Is that
We've done
right?
A lot of them, and I'll tell you, what's cool about them is, like, I'm not like this keynote speaker. I'm not a professional speaker. I literally talk about, sometimes we dive in, like, I'll give you guys a few simple little tricks. Like, a lot of the CSRs I have leave Yelp open and they join Yelp. And it's got a little thing there that says find friends. If you type in the customer's email address, you'll know if they're a Yelper. You'll also know if they leave 1 stars or 5-star reviews, and you could tag your CRM. Now, we're not doing anything disingenuous there. We're just trying to say, okay, this person belongs to Yelp. The Yelp review is going to stick. Another thing is when I'm hiring, I look at the reviews, they're Google reviews. And if they're all 1 stars every 2 weeks, they're never going to be satisfied. They find it worse than everything. Like you leave a 1 star when you get really bad service. Like I get that. I do too. But hopefully you left a lot of 5 stars and you also became a raving fan of the great service, because we know the customers that only leave 1 stars are assholes. Like these things we talk about, and I take a deep dive into these different things. It's genuinely like, use this stuff. Yeah. And like responding to reviews genuinely and saying, we've learned something here. And this is, I know it, we didn't service you. And I call those customers up and apologize to them personally. And I say, listen, we want to come take care of we didn't clean up after ourselves. You got a flat tire. Let me pay for the tire. Then I'd appreciate it if you just let the world know. You don't have to change the 1 star, but can you just leave a second comment saying that it's been handled? Because these opportunities make us better. And there's thing after thing about recruiting and training and not having turnover and getting the right team put together. And all these things matter. We take deep dives in every different city, and it's always different questions, different things we go over. And this Freedom event's going to have it all. So it's been an honor to be part of this podcast. I know you've been working your tail off just to really make a name in this industry, and it's a very difficult industry. But I think people are waking up saying we want more. And marketing, do not cut marketing. You never cut marketing out of your budget. You know, one last thing, Rob, is we're so loyal to the people. We're like, we're not going to lay off anybody because we're loyal to our people, but they're not loyal back. These people, listen, I believe in the people that have dedicated a lot of years to me, but when they stop really trying and they stop showing up for meetings and they drive like crap and there's cigarettes rolling out the window and their truck's never clean and they never offer parts and they're just impossible to work with, your loyalty will ruin it for everyone else in your company, because there are people that wonder why you accept this. Why do A players can't stand B players, that you put them in the same room. When you're on a team and you play in sports, if the coach is always letting these B players play, you're like, wait a minute. I showed up early for practice. I've been working out every day. I've been eating clean. I've been communicating with my team, doing all the drills. Why are you letting this happen? And they start to disrespect you. They start to think you're fake. They start to realize you're only about money. I've gotten rid of top performers, literally the top salespeople in the company, more than 5 times. And everybody rises to the top. They say he doesn't put up with these prima donna, sell. And the guys that roll their eyes and the gals that roll their eyes, they think they're like the shit. Like that's not tolerated here. So hopefully people got something out of this, Rob. And I'll do this more. I love this stuff. We'll chat more. If you need anything, you just call.
You're a stud. You're a complete stud. Thanks so much, Tommy. You have a good one. All right. And I hope we come back together soon.
We will.
All right.